How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Michael Thurville, photojournalist and sociologist here at VEDA World News. Taking a break from the ATP 250, the Professional Men's Clay Court Championship that's going on right here in Houston, Texas at the, what is it? I feel bad about not knowing that off the top. River Oaks Country Club. Sorry about that. We have a very special guest here, an attorney, here to answer all of your questions, thoughts, and possible misconceptions when it comes to dealing with police officers and interacting with police. Sir, your name?
Yes, sir. So I'm attorney Terry Henderson Peden. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
And I'm an attorney, an educator, and also a technologist as well.
Okay, and again, you started off by letting everyone know that, you know, your journey into becoming an attorney stemmed from your mom and your dad. Your dad was an engineer, and your mom kind of locked herself away while attending law school. For you, not being able to interact with your mom like that during that very trying time, what was that like?
I mean, I was old enough to where I understood the sacrifice that was being made. It wasn't just my parents. It was my parents, my grandparents, my extended family. For my father to become an engineer, I didn't even live with my parents till I was 6 years old.
Wow.
They sent me immediately to go live with my grandparents in San Antonio so that the resources could be put on him. And then he got on his feet, and then they did the same for my mother and sent my sister to San Antonio. So it was just a matter of, hey, if we want to achieve whatever it is in life, we got to sacrifice and really play team ball as a family to support and uplift one another. So it was never any hard feeling. If anything, I just admired her work ethic. And she actually graduated magna cum laude with 2 kids, a husband, a dog, 2 car notes, and a mortgage.
Okay, so if she can do it, that means that anyone can do it.
She beat me. I just graduated cum laude, and I don't even got a wife or no type of kids or nothing. So yeah, most definitely, it's just a lot of respect.
So we're talking not only just sheer will and determination, but that drive, more importantly, to become more
for sure
than where she previously was in life.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, being raised very closely with my grandparents, my grandmother, that generation, they picked cotton. They were sharecroppers. Really? My grandmother's grandparents was basically, they were slaves. You know what I'm saying? So for us to get to this point, my parents to become the first generation to go to college and then become professionals, you know, engineers, attorneys, then it just set the bar and the standard very high for me in terms of if they went from A to B and that was 50 yards and then C to D and that's 100 yards, then and I'm trying to go from D to, you know, further down the line, I got to go real far. I got to take it to another level. So just pure inspiration, but understanding where I come from as well. Okay,
and you graduated from Thurgood Marshall Law School at TSU, correct?
Correct.
Okay, what was that like going there?
Oh, it was beautiful.
Okay.
It was beautiful.
Why? What is your most fondest memories there?
Probably arguing with my con law professor, Dean Whedon, Larry Whedon now, but but him pushing me to really lock in and challenging me on my knowledge and what I thought and my analysis of cases, and I just really enjoyed that. Professor Ortero and all the great things she taught me about evidence and procedure and things of that nature. So a great environment. TSU and Thurgood give a lot of people chances that wouldn't otherwise have chances to become an attorney, maybe because of their undergrad GPA or something in their past. They made some mistakes, or you know, they didn't have the highest LSAT score, but we still give them a chance, you know.
And how are they faring now for those that may not have had, you know, the best LSAT score?
We some hustlers.
Are you saying that you're included in that bunch?
Yeah, I'm definitely included in that bunch. But you know, in many ways, we might not get the automatic acceptance from these bigger firms after graduating, or you know, these Power 5 opportunities, but at the same time, we've persevered through a lot to get to that point, and I think that put a little bit of grit on us. And a lot of us have backstories. You know, we didn't just go from undergrad straight to becoming an attorney. We, you know, life kind of lumped us up a little bit, but it made us better and more prepared to like represent our clients. And you got the practice of law, you got the business of law.
Okay, what is the difference between the two?
It's a lot of people who could practice the law all day, but they can't run a business. They can't get clients. They can't manage client support. They can't build a team. They, you know, crumble with the finances and the pressure and the stress of running a business. And I feel like as coming out of Thurgood, we excel.
Prepare for that.
Correct.
Okay, listen, let's crack this open here. You have your legal primary. And ladies and gentlemen, I am actually looking at his pamphlet for the very, very first time here. So I'm going to be selecting specific things within this particular pamphlet to kind of get some more insight on. Now, you state here, career paths, practice an attorney. Every area of human experience has laws connected to it, and laws or lawyers that deal with those laws: real estate, criminal justice, accidents, injuries, juvenile, family law, business, technology, environmental, etc. Let me ask you, what is your favorite type of law to practice, or what do you specialize in?
So I'm split between criminal and civil.
Why?
Because I think we're answering your question. I probably would answer why.
Okay.
So, why, or what's my favorite area? I'd say probably parole representation. So my mother was a parole attorney, and parole law is basically someone is sent to prison. They have to serve X amount of time mandatorily in prison, and then after that point, they can apply to be released and serve the rest of their time on parole, which is kind of like probation, but for people coming out of prison. So carrying on that legacy, my mom had a very successful volume-based practice. She helped thousands of people regain their freedom. So of course, doing that work, I enjoy it. I like going in there, going into prison, sitting down, talking to these men and women who've made some mistakes, been convicted, and now we're trying to right those wrongs, right? Okay. Some of them are innocent. Some of them, they got convicted for something. They didn't really do that. It was this. And, you know, so getting to know them and tell their story to help them regain their freedom and get from up underneath that 13th Amendment slavery in the United States of America, I think is truly a blessing. So on the criminal side, I do parole and I do criminal defense. Okay. And then on the civil side, I do personal injury and civil rights as well. So I'm kind of a little bit split on both, but personal injury is like the easiest for money. And of course, somebody has a serious accident, unfortunately somebody passes away, like we want to take care of them. From a business perspective, it's a little bit easier to wrestle money from Geico than it is wrestle money from the federal government of the United States.
Okay, I can understand that.
So yes, sir.
Oh, let's look at this here. Your thoughts on TDCJ. I've known some correctional officers right here in Houston, Texas, that work for the state of Texas as far as TDCJ. For those who don't know what TDCJ is, it is the Texas Department of Criminal Justice prison system. A lot of people are saying that these people that are being convicted are not being rehabilitated. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that more could be done, for sure.
Okay. In what way?
I think that I think it could be more. I mean, first of all, let me say this. I have certain clients who have been in prison years and haven't done anything. I got other clients who've been in prison for the same amount of time. They got 2-3 college degrees. They've taken 20-30 classes. They've enrolled in all these different types of self-help programs. A lot of that depends from unit to unit. So I think maybe having every unit giving inmates equal access and opportunity to take and engage in these programs and self-help. I think that would be very crucial. And then it's prison. So in certain prisons, certain units, you have guards and staff members who let their power and control go to their head, and maybe they block certain inmates. So I think maybe if we can make things a little bit more formalized in that way. But to TDC's credit, there is a lot of opportunity for that, but we could definitely do more as
Understood.
well.
And what about that situation that many people, especially poor people, and please excuse me if I speak plainly, because here on VEDA it's very uncensored here. Poor people often find themselves torn between either taking a plea deal or fighting a case. So in one instance, there was an individual that I spoke with. He told me that the judge says, hey, either you take this plea deal or you can go to trial, but if you take it to trial, we will find you guilty and you will serve the full sentence or whatever that is.
That's really good. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's fine. Why is it like that here?
That really comes down more to the prosecutors.
Okay.
Right? Harris County and surrounding counties, I've worked with some great prosecutors, and I've worked with some prosecutors who were terrible people and absolutely didn't deserve to be in that position of control and authority and power in terms of dictating what happens to a person at the end of a criminal case. And I think that it's crazy because, for example, you can have a case where the punishment range is 5 to 99 years. I think that's crazy.
That is a large spectrum.
I mean, for the same crime, you could get 5 years and that could be considered justice, or you get a life sentence and that's considered justice. I think that's an issue. I also think that there should be something done to where a lot of times a prosecutor will come back if they know the case is weak or it has a lot of flaws in it. They'll offer you 2 years state jail. If you don't take that and you go to trial, they're pushing to try to get you 25 years.
Why do they do that? And this is a situation that not only just simply happens in Texas, it happens in every state.
All over the United States.
Why?
The state systems, the federal system. Again, this is an element of, within the criminal justice system, you're dealing with people.
Okay.
So if that prosecutor woke up on Tuesday and you're on the docket on Tuesday and they were arguing with their spouse or having an issue with their kid or whatever, somebody cut them off in traffic and they get to court and they're pissed off, that could be your day to get blamed.
That's not right. That is not justice. That's personal discretion.
Right. So within that, I know sometimes if you go to a bench trial where basically you have a trial by judge instead of a trial by jury, it could be the same thing. Even jury trials, those are people, 6 people, 12 people, how many people you got sitting in the box. So
sorry about that.
Unfortunately, I feel like that's kind of maybe we could do something about that in terms of, hey, if you offer 10 years, as a plea deal, you shouldn't be able to come back at the end of the trial and try to get 30 years just because they made you go to trial.
Understood.
When that's their right to go to trial in the first place. You have a right to trial.
Okay, let's get into more some police things. You on the one here, you say traffic stop 1, how to survive a police traffic stop. Before we talk about chestnut checkers and getting pulled over, what is the number one thing people should do if they find themselves being stopped by law enforcement?
Remember what I'm finna tell you. Do your best to remember everything I got here and hit me up so I can come teach and get y'all some knowledge and get you some power through knowledge. But I say the number one thing is to remember that you don't have to consent to searches, that whether that be a search of your vehicle or them running all, trying to put their hands in your clothes and search inside your clothes. Or I've had officers in Buffalo, New York in the wintertime make me and my classmates / teammates take our shoes off. And
really? Crazy.
So you don't have to consent to searches. I say keep your cool, trust your knowledge and information. And that's probably just the 2 main things, right? You don't have to discuss your day. You don't have to tell them where you're coming from, where you're headed to. Just keep it real cool, straight to the point. Like if it's a traffic stop, the goal should be at worst just to get a ticket, right? But they can lie to you. The cops can mislead you legally. They can tell you, oh, we're gonna go get the dogs and I think I smell this or I smell that, or maybe, you coming from...
It's funny you brought that up because here's a question that I would say the initiated would ask. Should we get rid of Terry versus Ohio for probable cause and reasonable suspicion? Should we stop police officers from having that particular clause to operate on?
I feel like that's a deep topic, you know what I mean? And I don't want to say anything that could be tongue in cheek. But reasonable suspicion is a very low burden. Probable,
low hanging fruit.
Yeah, it's like very low. Recently had a case where we got the case dismissed, but we filed a complaint on the officer because he used one of the oldest tricks in the book. Oh, this person looks suspicious in a high crime area, which is basically a working class or lower socioeconomic area, predominantly black, predominantly Hispanic, type of area where it's like, well, anybody in the neighborhood, anybody at the corner store, anybody going from their friend's house to walk around the corner could, oh, you coming from over there? Well, that's a high crime area. Well, that's my neighborhood store. That's the convenience store in the neighborhood. All of us go there every day. All of us are not criminals, but that could be used as, even if it doesn't hold up in court, some type of superficial justification for them to mess with you and go, take things to the extreme.
Understood. So outside of that, looking at this, it says, cast a spell, invoke your rights.
Right.
What do you mean by that?
So, very simply, I mean, certain rights, you have to say them verbally to invoke them. For example, I don't consent to searches. The first one, right? If they and back to maybe a previous question, one of the most important things to remember in a traffic stop is that for officer safety, they can order you out of the car.
Okay.
So get out of the car, because how many times have we seen black folks get shot up 15, 16 times because the officer they're walking up to you with their hand on a gun. If I walk up to you on the street and you don't know me from Jack or Jill, and I got my hand on my gun and I'm looking right at you, what you gonna think? It's a hostile situation, right?
Yes.
They got their hand on the gun. You better not have your hand on the gun whenever they walk up on you. So from that standpoint, one of the key mottos for what I teach is that this is chess, not checkers, right? Sometimes you can't beat you can beat the rap, but you can't beat the ride. If you run into a dirty cop, it might be your day, unfortunately, where they gonna violate you and take you down there.
Okay.
But you get a good lawyer who's solid and gonna fight for you, they can get that case dismissed your first day in court. If there was no probable cause, there was no reasonable suspicion, it's obvious that this officer abused their authority. But yeah, so I think as far as invoking your rights, you have to say certain things to basically your right to counsel. You know, I want to see a lawyer. If they're interrogating you and questioning you, I'm not answering any questions, I want to see a lawyer. At that point, all that has to stop, but then you got to shut up. So you could cast a spell and then undo the spell as well if you get diarrhea of the mouth and just start blabbering off.
Understood. Here you says, trick question. If police asks, do you mind if we search, look around, go inside? The answer is always, I do not consent to searches. Then shut up.
You want to know why it's a trick?
Yes.
It's a trick because if they already had the probable cause or reasonable suspicion, they wouldn't be asking you. They wouldn't need to ask you. So a lot of times they'll frame that question, but aggressively, like almost like they're telling you, let me search the car. Let me go search your purse or your backpack because I'm going to go get the dogs, or open the trunk up because I'm going to do this or that. I don't consent to searches. If that's the case, if it wasn't, then they would just be doing it. Like, for example,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
Does that mean in that case they would have to go seek a warrant of some search, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Or if they come to your home and they're like, open this door and let me come in there right now. Or, do you want to let me come inside the house and look around? No. If they had a search warrant, they don't have to. They just have to present the warrant, get the warrant, present it to you. And then if you don't, then now you got another case. But it's not going to be all this negotiating, asking, and trying to twist your arm and play word games.
That's a lot of people, they get so nervous when they see police officers, when they see the lights, they hear the sirens, and I think some people, they kind of draw a blank.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, God, I can't believe I'm here. What am I supposed to do now? Even though they may have heard someone like you just teach a class. Sure. How do people deal with that? What do you suggest for that?
I say, sign up for this class or get me to teach this, follow my social media and things of that nature. Okay. But literally the stuff I teach here is so simple that through just rogue memorization, I could teach this to first graders. Okay. But again, as much time as we put into other things that might not serve us or protect us as much, I think we should just put a little bit more time and emphasis on making sure that as individuals, as families, as communities, that we know what to say and do in these situations. Understood. In the same way we memorize our favorite song.
Now here it says detained or free to go. Police have about 8 minutes to conduct the traffic stop. Be patient and be quiet. Now this 8-minute marker, is that normal? Like, how do they determine 8 minutes?
Right. So all of this stuff comes down to case law that eventually has made it all the way up to the Supreme Court. But just kind of as a benchmark, when police pull you over for a traffic stop because they say you were speeding or you didn't have the right tags or registration was expired, whatever that might be, and then they order you out of the car, which is for their safety, they have a right to do that, and you get out the car, I know from personal experience as a black man, that can turn into them kind of humiliating you and making you sit on the curb while everybody's passing by and looking at you crazy and giving you the side eye. And then now they're just they go back to their car and then they're there for 20, 30 minutes, or they handcuff you. It can just get really petty, really fast, and then that can turn into some type of drawn out process. So we nipped that in the bud by saying, hey, I asked you why you pulled me over when you came to the window. You said you pulled me over for my tags. You asked me to get out the car. Cool. I got out the car. I closed the door. I said I don't consent to searches. I complied. I sat down so you feel safe. I feel safe. But about 10 minutes, 10 minutes have gone by. What's up? Am I being detained or am I free to go? And the reason, again, that's an aspect of, that's a spell. That's a chess move. So that's like the Spanish opening or something. I don't know if you play chess, but in chess you have different openings. You have opening moves, you have mid-game moves, you have closing moves. Okay. So that's one of those moves where on their body cam, that's going to be recorded. So that if they kept you on the side of the road for 20 minutes and then found something that ended up with you getting some type of criminal case, that could be a basis for us to get everything thrown out. And why is that? Because that's an unreasonable restraint. That's a violation of your Fourth Amendment. Okay. That's an unreasonable search and seizure. See, a lot of people don't know that. Okay. So you don't got to tell them, because it's what I used to do. Police pull me over, I'm going to tripping. I'm hollering, I'm going full Black Panther mode because I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do, because I'm not going for this and that, and my mama paid taxes and I paid $57 in taxes from my minimum wage. You know what I mean? So that was out of fear. That was out of a sense of survival mode. And I would just say stuff like, it's unconstitutional. Well, from a legal perspective, when we, as attorneys, we hear it's unconstitutional with nothing specific put to that, it's like, okay, you might just be kind of woofing. You might be right. But I didn't know the Fourth Amendment. I didn't know the Sixth Amendment. I didn't know the 14th, the Fifth Amendment. I didn't know all of these different things. Do they not teach the amendments anymore in the 8th grade before you graduate? That was, I'm from Chicago, by the way. So for us, we cannot graduate unless we understood the amendments. Oh, nah. I know in Texas, I didn't learn nothing. They was teaching about Ulysses Grant and whatever the rest of them old Caucasian people name was. You know what I mean? We wasn't learning nothing. And I used to trip with them about that. Like, I'm in honors class, I'm in here every day, and we done went all around the world in world geography and haven't learned nothing about right here who we are. But as far as like on a civic level, no. And again, this is why I feel as an attorney, this is a key area for me to use my bar card, the position that I've been blessed to be in as a professional, to teach and educate and show people it's not that hard. We just find ourselves in bad situations because we don't have the knowledge. Understood. And ignorance of the law is no excuse. This is true. Here it says, remember, chess, not checkers. If police violate your rights today, stay alive and win in court tomorrow. For sure. Question, why is it so hard for people to adhere to this type of advice? We have cases such as George Floyd, where people are resisting police officers. Why is it so hard for them to say, hey, you know what, you got me, let's go do the dance? RIP to George Floyd, shout out 3rd Ward. And I mean, in his case, obviously we know the cop was wrong there, but in many other cases that maybe don't get the publicity, but end up in criminal court where a person ends up getting charged with resisting arrest, interfering with public duties, charges kind of like that, right? Where you doing things or giving a false name, false identifying information to an officer. Like, all these things are real cases. Yes. That can have real consequences on your life later. And again, I just think it comes from people not knowing, you being fearful, and you acting out a sense of survival mode instead of moving from a position of empowerment because you know what to say and do, when it was really pretty simple. Now, in terms of the bigger picture of, yeah, if I know I'm dealing with a dirty cop and he didn't have a reason to mess with me in the first place, then I shouldn't go and just try to add a bunch of cases on just to prove a point to him. Like, there are better ways to handle that. So again, I just think it comes down to lack of knowledge. Okay, and let me see something. One final question here before we exit out is, when people go to jail or prison, they get convicted, they do their time, why is it that the system does not allow them to go forward in life? Where they go apply for a job, and they say, oh, well, you did this 7 years ago, 10 years ago, in some cases 30 years ago. No, we can't hire you. Why is it like that? I think that kind of goes back to the root of the criminal justice system in this country, the modern criminal justice system as we know it, which came out of slavery, right?
Okay.
A lot of the laws that we see, the over-policing, the growth and expansion of the prison system came from, okay, we got millions of these black folks that we've released from forced bondage and slavery as a free labor force. How can we criminalize them and then get them back in a situation where they're working for free?
Well, and again, it's not just black people,
Sure.
black Americans going through this. It's white Americans,
Sure.
Everyone
Sure.
that has a conviction record of some sort.
Right.
They're unable to find meaningful jobs.
So I would say, again, it comes back to that. Now, maybe a potential solution, bankruptcy, business-wise. You have filed bankruptcy. What is it? I don't practice bankruptcy, but after like 7 years, you wipe clean.
Yes.
Pete Hegseth was talking about bombing people and wiping off the face of the earth yesterday in the news, right? Current events. And he did that in the name of Jesus Christ. So we're dealing with some type of Judeo-Christian. If you look at the Bible and its teachings on forgiving people's flaws and things and wrongdoings and debts, that's a 7-year jubilee. Every 7th year is a jubilee year.
Okay.
So it's like, I think for maybe not for every single type of offense, but for most crimes, like after 7 years, you haven't done nothing else, you ain't picked up no more cases, that should be wiped clean, right? I don't think that a person who made a mistake and you know, robbed a gas station when they were 20, has served decades in prison, got out, and is literally one of the best people in our society at 50, 60 years old.
We see so many cases of that where people have actually turned their lives around.
Absolutely. That's like a lot of my work on the parole side is representing those people and helping them get that humanity back. So in terms of why exactly, I don't know. But I would say, I would put that out there as maybe a solution. Give a time period. You haven't broke no more laws. You ain't got in no more trouble. We should wipe these people record clean.
Understood.
And not hold that against them to the day that they're gone, you know?
Understood. Where can people find you?
So people can find me on my website, the Law Group of THP, T as in Terry, H as in Henderson, P as in Peden, my last name, .com. You can find me on Parole, Parole, Attorney, TV.com. You can find me on Instagram. Oh man, I got a terrible Instagram name. Y'all never gonna remember it. Consigliere, like Consigliere, CONSIGLIERE_TP. Or you could just search my name on Instagram, Terry Henderson Peden, Terry H Peden, BBMG, MT, BBM.
That is a lie.
You know what I'm saying?
That is a lie.
Hey man, I'm everywhere like air, man. You find me.
But what we will do is we will take this information and we will be sure to put it in the bottom of the screen here, where people can reach out to you, make those phone calls, get in touch with services, and more importantly, above all things else, get in contact with you for classes and education.
Absolutely.
I think that is one of the best things that you're doing right now, besides fighting cases and helping people out, or the education, the preventative medicine, so to speak, to stop people from finding themselves in these positions in the first place.
Absolutely.
It is an absolute pleasure to speak with you today, sir.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to having you on here again. I just may give Republican candidate Gonzalez a call.
All right.
Oscar Gonzalez. He is a former deputy right here.
Mr. Oscar Gonzalez, representative. I love to sit down and speak with you.
Yes, I will definitely give him a call, and he would love to sit down and talk with you too.
Looking forward
because I like that idea of a law enforcement officer and an attorney coming together and helping the public, because he really is about it.
And let me say this as well, like I think through my work as an attorney, again, growing up, being pretty radical, having, aside from like I got a couple of my godfathers who were police officers, just having a really negative view on policing. Because of experiences I had. First time I ever had a gun pointed at me, I was 14. The cops cocked a shotgun and told me and my friend, who actually became a lawyer as well, to lay on the hood of a hot Suburban.
Wow.
So from that experience, being a young black man in America growing up, and then I didn't grow up in an all black neighborhood. I grew up in an area where you kind of stood out, you know what I mean? Of like, kind of what you doing over here, where through in time growing up and then now doing this work as criminal defense and the work I do now, I can tell and see the difference between good police work and horrible, unacceptable, abusive, Gestapo type of police work, and that's what I'm against. And I think that what I teach and the message that I'm pushing increases public safety on both ends.
Understood.
The people can protect themselves and assert their rights in a more calm and poised manner, and from the officer standpoint, you're not dealing with people who are behaving erratically and ignorantly and in a way where they're scared.
Understood.
And you know, it's just not safe for either side. So I'm really looking forward to that, Officer Gonzalez. I would love that.
All right. Well, my name is Michael Thurville, photojournalist and sociologist here at VEDA World News. We'll see you on the next segment. Thank you.